Yes, now ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Fans YouTube channel. I am back on all my channels after having a day off. I'll speak as to why I had a day off on my NICHOLLZ channel for a vlog that will either get uploaded later today or tomorrow. But it's time to talk Smackdown, and I'm an idiot, yeah, because, wow, that's hot tea. Because with being in the UK, normally we have to watch Smackdown the next day, or Raw the next day, NXT the next day. And obviously I had work, and I'm like, I can't be afford to staying up, you know. There's never been a chance for me to stay up unless it's something really important and I'm going to sacrifice my sleep for it. But I'm an idiot. It was in Dublin. They run on, I believe, the same time zone as England, if not far off, right? Dublin, well, part of Ireland, a part of the UK. I'm not sure if Dublin is in the part of the island that is. Doesn't matter, regardless. It's in the same area. It's in the same time zone. I could have literally watched it live. But whatever, that's fine. I saved myself the longer version of SmackDown. I saved myself all the adverts and the cuts and whatever. I literally got to watch the cut-up version where all the adverts and extra shite was cut out, right? But let's talk SmackDown. I've got some great things to talk about. I'm going to start with the great things, right? Let's talk about John Cena. John Cena in Dublin, Ireland, right? First time WWE had a televised show in Dublin, Ireland, by the way, which is crazy. I'm surprised I've not done that before. I'm just waiting for the day we get a televised event in Newcastle. It's crazy. I have to think like I'm a small city, but I'm not. I'm like England has got many cities, and Newcastle is considered quite a big one compared to like a smaller city. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of the larger scale cities in England, Newcastle is one of them. But we don't get enough love from mainstream media. But it is what it is, right? John Cena comes out, and obviously Logan Paul interrupts him, doesn't even let him speak, right? Everyone hates Logan Paul. He's getting booed, and I feel like Logan Paul still cannot handle bad crowds. I don't know if this is what he's trying to do. I don't know if he's putting that on. He's trying to, like, this is how I'm going to handle the crowds. But, like, I don't think it works. Whether he can't do it or whether his execution just ain't it, it doesn't work. Just screaming back at the crowds. Like, you're supposed to scream back at the crowds once or twice, but then carry on with your point. But he seems to just get lost in screaming at the crowds and insulting them. It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't hit for me, personally, right? But John Cena, once again, with a fucking home run of a promo. I love John Cena on the mic. I've seen polls out there where it's like, oh, rank these wrestlers in terms of mic skills, and John Cena's been 4th out of the 4. It is crazy. John Cena is the best. Don't even at me. The best. He's better than The Rock. The Rock can do a good insult. He can do a good one-liner. He's a great promo artist. But there's a structure to The Rock's promo. Cena can do any type of fucking promo. Cena is so versatile. And he'll spit wisdom like he was doing to Logan Paul on the mic. John Cena is the best on the mic. And he put into perfect words what all of us fans are thinking about Logan Paul. Logan Paul, outside of WWE, I personally have no problems with. Back in 2017, 2018, 2019, back up until after he finished fighting KSI, I had problems with Logan Paul. Everyone did, right? After he fought KSI, I had no problems. I started watching his podcast. He got great guests on there. Sometimes you'd watch his vlogs. Gets on great. And the fact that he partnered up with KSI was great, right? All this stuff. Obviously, you can tell I'm a great KSI fan. Plus, I'm a Brit, right? I just resonate with the Sidemen so much. And the hate KSI gets these days is unwarranted. But, like, KSI is different now. But the world is changing, essentially. Everything's more commercialized, right? And that's why Logan Paul's in WWE. I have a problem with Logan Paul in WWE purely out of respect for wrestling, not because I have a problem with Logan Paul. Outside WWE, I'm a Logan Paul fan. I'll admit it. Like, I'll watch his stuff. I literally do taste tests of his drinks on my other channel. Yeah, I'm not even mad at that. Yeah, and while it is annoying to be like, oh, you can't bring your business over to this business, and then be a hypocrite and try his drinks and buy it all. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes I feel like there is a bit of a disrespect the way Logan Paul comes into WWE and utilizes WWE for himself. John Cena put it into perfect words. He said, there is plenty of talent that everyone wants me to see wrestle. Like Dominic Mysterio, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles. The crowd loved AJ Styles, right? But instead, I'm wrestling you. And John Cena put it into perfect words. That's exactly what we think. We think, why is he getting wasted on Logan Paul? John Cena said those exact words. That's exactly what we're thinking. So at least they recognise it. It sort of makes it worse, the fact that they recognise it and they're still choosing to go against it. But John Cena put into words what we're thinking. Why is it Logan Paul? Why does Logan Paul get these big spots? Why did Logan Paul beat AJ Styles at WrestleMania? Why is Logan Paul considered one of the new future world champions when there's so many good wrestlers who've grinded for so long to get there? Fine. I don't doubt that Logan Paul might be bringing some eyes to WWE. I don't think his audience and wrestling audience really mesh anyway. And I don't know if Logan has a core audience either. He kind of just has generalized views from loads of different people for loads of different reasons, right? But I don't doubt that Logan is a big superstar and he's bringing something to WWE. I wouldn't say he's changed it, but he's brought something. And while he may deserve to be in the spotlight, and I don't doubt that he's great in the ring. He's absolutely great in the ring. He's a great character, and he brings something. It's the disrespect of using that to look past everything else. Logan Paul said, "Oh, people say I'm an outsider, but I've been here 4 years. That's more than half the roster." No, it's not. You just found out that you've been in wrestling just as long, if not longer, than Tiffany Stratton, who's the undisputed WWE Women's Champion. But who else besides Jade Cargill have you been wrestling more than? There is wrestlers on that roster who are in their 40s and have been wrestling since they were 18, 17, 16. Just because they've not been on WWE television, they've been fighting on other promotions, trying to build their way up from the independent scene, from backyard wrestling up until the main scene, right? There's some wrestlers on there where if you found out their real age, you'd be like, what the fuck? And they've been wrestling longer than John Cena. Yeah, John Cena's just been in the WWE longer. He's been at a higher level longer. Yeah, it's the disrespect. Logan Paul doesn't realise that these people did this wrestling for nothing. Did this wrestling for nothing in the hopes to make it to something. Yeah, and because Logan Paul has been given a trainer by WWE, has been given an expensive contract, and only had to wrestle 23 total matches in 4 years, that he's now the greatest. No, it's not. That's called getting it easier. Mind, respect you for getting involved. Respect you for helping get some attention on WWE. We thank you for that. Respect for being good in the ring. But at the same time, 23 total matches in 4 years. John Cena used to do 23 matches in a month in his prime when he was doing live shows all the time. And all these wrestlers probably did that on independent scenes. They probably wrestled every day, every weekend. Stuff like that. Yeah? So that was a nice point for John Cena to point out, the fact that Logan Paul's only wrestled 23 total matches since he's been here. He acknowledged the fact that Logan Paul is undeniable. He acknowledged the fact that Logan Paul is probably a future world champion. But 23 matches in 4 years. John Cena's been here 23 years. Logan Paul can come in and insult John Cena, saying now John Cena's the outsider because he's got other aspirations in acting and he partially wrestles and he's got 5 moves. But John Cena had to grind to get to that position. He put all his eggs into wrestling first. And once he paid his dues and he gives something back to this business, then he took himself, once he was getting slower and once he was past his prime, he took himself to go do something else. Yeah, while I think John Cena did leave in his prime, by the way, because 2017 John Cena put on Heaters. But regardless, he said, that's what makes you great. You think about what you give to this business. Logan Paul has thought about what this business can give him. And then John Cena pointed out the prime stand, to which the fans roared because we all are thinking it. There's a massive prime stand there. There was once a massive prime logo in the ring. I don't hate prime. I like KSI. I like Logan Paul sometimes. Sometimes he really annoys me. And I don't think it's a bad thing that a YouTuber can make a drink. They've been doing stuff like that since 2017, since YouTube started. People have been making merchandise and product. The fact is, it's so saturated, forced, and shoved down our throats. And John Cena pointed it out perfectly. He said, you use WWE and this fan base to push your own product. And fair enough on you. But respectfully, we're gonna think worse of you because we don't think you have the proper respect for this business. And Logan Paul, whether he's putting on a character, if he is putting on a character the whole time, fair play. But on his actual podcast, as a person, or outside the WWE, he is talking about other wrestlers as if he is better than them. He's always saying, no one's done this move, no one's done this, I've done this, I've done this. And that's fine. Maybe sometimes you're right about that. But just remember, 23 matches in 4 years allows you a lot of time to have breaks, to recover, to train. If other wrestlers had that time that you have, and that trainer, and that money, and the equipment, and the resources you have, they'd be doing even better shit. So respect to John Cena for saying it, but not respect to WWE for not changing his matchup. Because if you can acknowledge the fact that we think this is a waste of time on John Cena's retirement year, where he has got roughly 10 appearances left, 10 of which will probably be about 2 or 3 matches left, you can acknowledge that that is not who we want him facing, and we want him facing other talent. Why aren't you changing it? You can change the main event of WrestleMania that has multi-billion-dollar man The Rock and your biggest star Roman Reigns to Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, because the people want Cody Rhodes. Why can't you change a random match in Paris from John Cena and Logan Paul to John Cena and AJ Styles, John Cena and Dominic Mysterio, John Cena and Jacob Fatu, John Cena and Seth Rollins, John Cena and Roman Reigns, John Cena and Drew McIntyre? So many names, and I could keep going. Not just because they're big stars, but they're matches we actually want to see. It makes sense. Anyways, with that headache of a rant over, if that even sounded, the way I place that sentence, you might not even agree with this, but it's fine. I know what I'm thinking. Listen to John Cena's promo. It says it all. Yeah, you don't need to hear me say it. I've been saying it. I've been thinking it. Maybe I've not put it the way John Cena has, but thank you to the promo god he has. Respect to Logan Paul as a person, but as a wrestler, respectfully, yeah. Just because we have respect for you, we don't have to put you over everything else. I also have 10 times more respect for all these wrestlers because I watched them growing up and I know the grind. Not because I've been on it myself, but I grew up watching wrestling spaces. I watch wrestling YouTubers and I watch loads of different smaller wrestling companies, which I don't do anymore because I'm older. I've got new aspirations. I've got new avenues that are more stuff that I enjoy. So I don't have time for all that. So I watch the main thing that makes me happy, and that's WWE. Respectfully. He's right though. But regardless, Logan Paul obviously has this partnership, this friendship with Drew McIntyre, who gave him some advice. He said, look, what happened out there? You got embarrassed by John Cena. You got hit with an attitude adjustment, which was an appropriate name for the move and the moment. It's because you fear him. And obviously Logan's going to deny it, but Drew McIntyre's like, you fear him because he's John Cena, he's the greatest of all time. But that was 2010. It's not 2010 anymore. He's still John Cena, but you need to do something to really affect him. You need to do something about it, essentially. And he says, no matter what it is, you need to do something. So as the show was closing, John Cena was leaving, and NICHOLLZ said to John Cena, I've heard from Brock Lesnar. Finally, the news we all want to know, because where is Brock Lesnar? Even Brock Lesnar versus John Cena at Clash in Paris would have been a better match. We have no problem with Cena versus Brock. We don't even have a problem with Brock. He did nothing wrong in that situation. Even if he did, I don't care, yeah? Because John Cena, Brock Lesnar, that is history. That is part of John Cena's career. That's a great match we would see, and we would be fine if you sacrifice one of the current roster superstars to have that Cena Brock Lesnar match. Why isn't that happening in Clash in Paris? I don't know, because they want to prolong it. And they want to have Logan Paul. But we finally heard from him, so we know it wasn't just a shock factor moment. They've not let go of it, which is the important thing, because WWE loves to let go of these moments. But as he says that, Logan Paul runs by him, knocks him out, whatever, runs off. NICHOLLZ is mad at him. Screw you, Logan Paul. So that's probably going to advance. And I swear down, if at Clash in Paris, right, because I can watch that live because it's Paris, it's like 1 hour ahead or 1 hour behind us, yeah? So I swear to my word, if WWE has Logan Paul beat John Cena, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I'm swearing to my word and I don't even know what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to be fucking happy. I promise you that. I swear that. Oh, no. I don't think, like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, but Logan Paul beating Kevin Owens, Randy Orton at WrestleMania, then the next year beating AJ Styles clean. That's one thing. If Logan Paul beats John Cena on his retirement tour, I'm done. I'm done. It's not happening. regardless, we've got no update on Cody Rhodes' injury, which is just a joke because what we're doing. Obviously, they're prolonging the story. Drew McIntyre came out and was like, "What's the story? Come on, where is it?" And he started cutting his promo on how Cody Rhodes is a bitch and he doesn't want to come back, doesn't want to face Drew. And then Randy Orton returned and RKO'd Drew McIntyre, which makes sense because for whatever reason that Randy Orton's gone, maybe he was hurt for a couple of weeks, we don't know. But the last man Randy Orton was feuding with was Drew McIntyre, so that makes sense. My one concern here is they're not telling us about Cody's condition. Clash in Paris is next week, I think. Yes, August 30th or August 31st. It's next week. We've still not heard from Cody Rhodes. We've got one episode of Smackdown before Clash in Paris. And all we know about that Drew McIntyre is feuding with is Randy Orton. I have a fear that at Clash in Paris, we will get Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton and not Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed WWE Championship. While I don't mind Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, why that's not a bad match, and yes, that could be on a PLE, but it seems stupid. It seems like it should be the title shot, you know, and then when Drew McIntyre fails that title shot, maybe then he can go on a long feud with Randy and Cody can defend against someone else. But if we're doing Clash of Paris and Cody's not defending against Drew and Drew's fighting Randy, I'm going to be mad because what title match do I actually have at Clash in Paris besides AJ and Dom? And to be fair, we'll have the World Heavyweight Championship. I stand corrected, but still, I feel like Cody, Drew McIntyre needs to happen at Clash in Paris. But I wouldn't complain if Randy Drew happens because that's a good match. It always is. It always will be. Two veterans who are powerhouses but can pull out some athletic moves. They're great characters in the ring, never disappoint. I'm not going to complain about it. As for the Undisputed WWE Women's Championship picture, well, if you haven't watched SmackDown, which obviously you have, you've come for my reaction, my review. Becky opens up the show because obviously they're in Dublin. They want hometown hero. Becky comes out and obviously she's getting cheered despite being a heel because she's from Dublin. And she was connecting with the crowd, you know, saying something that only the crowd, only Dublin would understand, even though like we could all kind of get it. Until she turned on them, which was perfect because, I mean, that's perfect for Becky Lynch and the product altogether. They give Becky that homecoming moment where she can have that moment where she's opened up the first ever televised show in her hometown. She could connect with her hometown, but then she still did her job and was the heel, still turned on the crowd and got that heat. And the crowd didn't let go of it. Like, normally hometown crowds are like, oh, we don't care if you're a heel, we're still going to cheer you. No, they fed into it and then they started chatting, we want Lyra. Respect for that. And WWE is shameful for not putting Lyra on that card, or Sheamus or Finn. Not because they have to be on that card, but let's just talk about something. While they're doing a little tour of the UK, yeah, you know, Smith's Toy Superstores, they're having all these superstars go to different Smith's Toy Superstores and do, like, autograph signings and take pictures. Lyra Valkyria is the one for Newcastle. That's cool. I don't mind that. I'm probably not going to go meet Lyra Valkyria. I've got a girlfriend, so if I go and meet a woman, I want to go take a picture of this woman, it might be a concern. Although, like, not a concern, but it might be a bit, come on. But at the same time, we should never be ashamed. But the one for Dublin was Chelsea Green and the Secret Service. Could WWE at least not done Lyra in Dublin for the fans and for Lyra's sake? I just feel bad for Lyra in that case. But anyway, starts feeding the crowd, and then the person who comes out to interrupt Becky, who I thought was going to be Lyra, you know, because Becky was going on about how Lyra can't challenge for the title anymore. But then I'm just thinking, she can't challenge Becky for the title anymore, but she can still have a match with Becky. And they put on bangers. Imagine that in Dublin. But no, it was Tiffany Stratton that came out, which again, I'm not going to complain, because that would be a great match. Tiffany Stratton, Becky Lynch for the Undisputed WWE Women's Championship and the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Obviously, that wouldn't happen on SmackDown, but a one-on-one match would be great. She starts cutting a promo, and Nia Jax comes out. Nia Jax, what we're doing, WWE, what we're doing with Nia Jax. She just went on NXT, she did something with Lash Legend, she did something with Thea Hale. She was doing something different. The last year, you've had her doing nothing. You've had her and Tiffany Stratton do nothing but fight each other for that Undisputed Women's Championship. How many times has Tiffany Stratton beat Nia Jax for a championship? And Nia Jax is coming out again. She's in a feud with Jade Cargill. There's plenty of other women on that roster. What are you doing? But it's fine. Jade Cargill came out and backed Tiffany, and it led to the main event, that being a tag team match. Obviously, Becky and Nia being mortal enemies. I mean, Nia made the man, and the man was the biggest thing in Becky's career. And then they were saying we need to get on the same page. So went, okay, whatever. Tiffany's like, I don't need your help. Jade's like, no, that's fine. I need you 100% for when I take my title. So they agreed to team up. It was a quick match because all the promos and segments took way too long. Tiffany and Jade got the win. They're just going to have a competitive match for the Undisputed Women's Championship, which is fine. I've been saying this, and I don't need to say it again, but I will. Faces can face faces. Heels can face heels. It doesn't always need to be good versus bad. Sometimes it can just be competitive. At the end of the day, you want to blur the lines between sports and entertainment. So use the sports element and have good guys face good guys. Regardless, that women's division is so boring. Not because of the lack of talent, purely because of the booking. And it's honestly getting on my nerves. But as for the tag team division, we've been going on about NICHOLLZ and the Street Profits and the MFTs, and they've all won matches to be number one contenders and whatever. Well, tonight it was NICHOLLZ against Motor City Machine Guns, which NICHOLLZ won. Again, there was more shenanigans of the Miz tagging himself in, but Carmelo did something and Miz just stole the victory. And there was more Fraxium trying to convince Carmelo that the Miz was using them, and Carmelo actually backed the Miz, but Carmelo kind of, you could tell, had a plan in his head, and he was teasing the Miz with tags, and you thought he'd had it figured out until the Miz stole it again. Then we had the MFTs take on the Street Profits, to which the Street Profits actually won, which I was surprised by, but it was due to an interference with Jimmy Uso hitting Talatonga with the chair, and Sami Zayn taking out Solo Sikoa. So next week we're going to get NICHOLLZ versus Street Profits. The winners become number one contenders, and I pray it's NICHOLLZ, because Street Profits have chased those titles for so long. And I'd normally want to wait and let WWE cook with the title reigns and let them cook with NICHOLLZ. And if NICHOLLZ challenge the White Six too early, it means they're not winning the belts. But no, I just don't want to see the Street Profits go again, because Street Profits have been involved in this massive tag title chase where they were the champions. They lost the belts. They tried to get another shot, didn't get them. I don't want to say it. I feel like there'd be no hype. NICHOLLZ have got hype because they've got a bit of a story going. So let's make that happen. As for what I was saying about Jimmy and Talatonga and the MFTs, well, Jimmy was getting congratulated backstage by Sammy, who we know has been feuding with Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa came along, dug the knife and like, oh, we're family, I'm your kid's uncle, and these are all your kids' uncles, and laughed about it, whatever. And I'm just thinking, Jacob was feuding with Solo. Jimmy got involved. Jimmy and Jacob were feuding with Solo. Sammy's got involved. Sammy, Jamie, Jacob, all feuding with Solo. We're going to get another Bloodline War. Don't know if it's going to be at War Games. It's probably not big enough for War Games, given that it's the United States title division. But we've got something there. And we've actually just found out that next week Sammy will challenge for the United States Championship. And I'm not sure who I want to win that, because Sammy winning it would be pretty cool. And it would make him, no, it would not make him Grand Slam champion because he's not been a world champion. But it would be cool. But Solo retaining would also make sense, and I back it because Solo is actually underrated. His theme song's underrated. His moveset's underrated. Him as a character is underrated. He's just underrated. So him retaining would also be great. So I don't mind what I say, really. I just want to say it. As for the women's tag team division, Piper Niven beat Charlotte Flair clean. Alexa Bliss wasn't there because apparently the attack last week where they hit the moves after the match means she's not medically cleared to be there this week. And so it was literally Piper versus Charlotte, but there was Alba and Chelsea at ringside. And there was some shenanigans. I think Chelsea or Alba raked the eyes of Charlotte Flair. But it wasn't a roll-up. It wasn't a disqualification. Piper Niven fully hit Charlotte Flair with a Michinoku driver, which I didn't know that was her finisher, and pinned Charlotte Flair. Am I crazy? Was that literally Piper Niven's biggest win ever? Like, Piper Niven's never had a win that big. She's been tag team champions before. I don't know if she was NXT UK Women's Champion, but she just pinned Charlotte Flair clean on a random episode of Smackdown. And the crowd was like, oh, wow. We're witnessing a Piper Niven push. Like, what is that? That's insane. So next week, they're getting a tag team title shot against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, which, again, I don't really mind the result of, but I think Charlotte and Alexa should really retain. This reign should last a bit longer. But yeah, I'm liking how we're getting so many title reigns next week, because next week we're in Lyon, France, just before Clash in Paris, and these are probably all the fights that they couldn't fit on Clash at the Castle or Clash in Paris. I'm not being funny. At Clash in Paris, I'd rather see Sami Zayn challenge for the United States Championship than see John Cena have to fight Logan Paul in his retirement tour. I'd rather put off Cena from being on that card and preserve the dates he has left for better competition than see him face Logan Paul. So why don't we put Sami and Solo on that card? Forget the CENA Logan fight, or even the women's tag titles. Use your brain, man. Use your brain. It is what it is. I think finally, well, not finally, actually, there's a few more things to talk about. Michin's still chasing an opportunity against Julia. Kiana was just like, oh, you need to go through me. Michin's like, no, ignore me, calls. Same stuff as the last couple of weeks, except nothing's been done about it. There's not been a match between Kiana and Michin set up. There's not been a match between Michin and Julia set up. NICHOLLZ is not getting involved. Literally nothing. Why? Why is there nothing? Come on. Do something about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, so annoying. Like, stop slow building because it's not exciting. No one's excited about any of these superstars. None of them have heat. None of them have a push. There's just one with a belt and one carrying around a candlestick. So I'd like something to be done about it, please. Finally, the last thing I need to talk about is Aleister Black. He was meant to have a match with R-Truth, which I was actually excited for because we need an actual match that ends between them two. And that needs some closure before we go back into Aleister Black, Damian Priest. But R-Truth sent a video message in from a plane saying, oh, I can't be there, or I'm in the wrong Dublin, which obviously I think he's just on his album tour, so I don't think that's what's going on there. But he said he couldn't be there, but he got a friend to step in for him, and it was Damian Priest, and they just had a massive scrap, and the match got called off because they were actually scrapping, and they were scrapping good. This was a good scrap, right? Normally it's like the throw forearms and the hug, and then the security will set them apart, and despite there being 30 massive security guards holding them back, they managed to burst out of all of them and jump onto the crowd and punch each other. It's really boring. But this fight, they were actually throwing proper fists, they were throwing proper kicks. It looked like a good fight. And I can't wait for that match. Put that match on Clash in Paris. What are we doing? It should have been on SummerSlam. There's plenty of dead SummerSlam matches. Put that on SummerSlam. Damian Priest, while he's not there, he's almost there, and Aleister Black is the same. He just needs more spotlight, but they're both incredible in the ring, and that would have been a great match. SummerSlam is a massively commercialized event, just like WrestleMania. You'll probably have a lot of casuals watching. If you show your other talent in that ring, you might get eyes on them, and they might get more heat. Do you understand? If you put someone who's not as big but great in the ring on a big event like that, people might watch it and go, oh, wow, they're great. And they might get more fans. I feel like that's logic, but who knows. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.